everyone, welcome back to another video. Today was round 7 of Sunway Formentera. I just finished my game. Let's see what happened in today's game. Today I faced Eduard Sirajnik from Austria, rated 1990. In the first round, Ketty already played against him, so I was like, oh, that's amazing. He was playing another streamer, and this time it's me. So in the preparation, I was confident to play e4. My opponent used to be much higher rated, but dropped quite some rating over the years. And yeah, he hasn't played actively in quite some time. He's played some tournaments here and there. So it was a little bit, in a way, difficult to prepare because you never know. Maybe your opponent changed the opening. But at the same time, he usually goes for d6 and g6 setups. So I thought, okay, these kind of paired modern defense structures will appear, and let's see what to do against that. So d6 was played indeed, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, and bishop e3. So I prepared this line where after c6, so I was thinking of playing f3, queen d2, let me try to draw the arrows correctly, and then g4, h4, and just start attacking, because I thought I just want to attack today. I want to get the job done quickly. But then I thought I don't really want to allow any sort of b5 so easily, so that's why I included a4 already on move 5. Bishop g7, f3, and now queen a5. And this was also part of my preparation, and it's actually quite difficult to understand how to deal with this move, because the idea is simple. Black wants to play b5 at some point, especially if you play queen d2. So let's say queen d2 here, the plan is to play b5. And when I was trying to figure out what to do in such situations, there are moments where you can play long castle, not here, but just to illustrate, after b takes a4, king b1, and then you play on or something. Not in this case, but there were positions where this was supposed to happen, and I thought this was pretty crazy, not something that I will do just like that. So that's why it's a bit difficult to deal with this, but for now b5 is not a move, of course, so not something to worry about. h4 is what I played, h5, of course trying to stop me from playing h5 together with g4. And now knight h3. Turns out that here I should have played queen d2 or knight e2, but I remember preparing knight h3, but I didn't remember the proper line that I looked at. Perhaps it was with the inclusion of short castle, which changes a lot, right? So yeah, queen e2 would have been slightly better, but I didn't like that, as I mentioned, b5. I didn't really know what to do with this. I know there's moves such as b4, queen takes b4, rook b1, and then I take on b5, and I should be better, but I wasn't entirely sure about basically trading off the entire queen side, almost all of it. So yeah, I played knight h3 because I thought, okay, I want to put the knight on g5 and then start attacking whenever possible. But my opponent took on h3, and I was really surprised by this because I thought, oh wait, what? I did not think that was a move because black is giving up the bishop pair already. So I took on h3 with the rook, knight bd7, and I started to understand that maybe it's a little bit annoying that my knight is now off the board. That knight can be really useful for the attack, and in the next few moves I start to understand that, okay, maybe this is not so easy for me. Queen e2 is what I played after all. It was really difficult for me to find the right moves. Of course, I cannot play g4 here because of the takes. The pawn on e4 is hanging as the queen is pinning the knight over here. So you have to be pretty careful here. You can't just start pushing pawns out of nowhere. So that's why queen d2, short castle, bishop e2, just taking it easy. Rook d8. Now I'm able to play g4, so I go for it. e5 was played, really nice move. Countering in the center, because now the problem is that if I take on h5, there's knight takes h5, and it's suddenly really difficult to attack because this knight is blocking everything. The one move that you want to try here is f4, but after f4, I didn't like that black could capture either on f4 or d4. Let's say e takes d4, bishop takes d4, there's bishop takes d4, queen takes, knight takes f4, and I'm just losing a pawn, and possibly more. So really unpleasant position for me if I take on h5, which is why I didn't want to do that. But how else do I attack? Where is my attack? It's supposed to be so easy to attack on the king side, but it's not. So I was very confused about that. And then it took me some time to understand what to do. And finally, I thought, let's play Long Castle. Not the best move. I should have played either d5 or g5. One of those moves are perfectly fine, but I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to commit to those moves. As I said, I want to attack, so shutting down a position was not really on my radar. And I thought Long Castle, at least I bring this rook in the action, and perhaps the king is better placed on b1 at some point. However, this does allow my opponent to play b5, which is conveniently enough for me not the best move, but it's definitely a tricky move. Because you have to imagine if you take on b5, queen a1 check can get really, really scary. Knight b1, and you take on d4, there's a rook coming on the b file, and it's very, very dangerous. This pawn on b2 is the big target and very tough to defend for white. So that's why I thought, okay, I don't want to take on b5. I'm leaving that pawn as it is. And after a long thought, I believe I spent around 12 minutes on this move. After long thought, I finally understood that I have to give up on trying to open up the king side and shut it down with g5. And I was really happy to see that this move is actually really good because, you know, this move is not easy to play. I really wanted to take on h5. I want to push all the pawns forward and break it open over there. But if I do that, then the attack dies down. So that's why I played g5, understanding that, okay, I can shut down the king side. And if I ever want to, I can play f4, f5, maybe even f6. So at least I still have one opportunity to attack on the king side. My opponent went for knight h7. I was really surprised by this. I really thought that knight e8 was one of the more annoying moves to deal with because the knight is defending the pawn on d6 if anything, and the knight can quickly jump somewhere towards the queen side, right? At the same time, I also thought that b4 was a really important move to consider because, of course, I can take because after b takes c3, I'm in slight trouble over here. It's a little bit unclear how this position is. I mean, maybe I'm not in trouble, but it's not something you want to play with white. So that's why b4 I feel like was really important move. And if I play knight b1, I'm too passive. The pawn on a4 is dropping, and yeah, it's not looking great for me here at all. I was thinking of playing b3 here, but the computer's really unhappy with my position. E takes d4, bishop takes d4, and yeah, my king on the queen side is just very unsafe, and black can start pushing the center with d5 and yeah, break things open. So really dangerous position for me here. That's why after b4, I had to be really careful and play moves such as knight a2, but with queen takes a4 around here, it's very tricky. So anyway, that was not what was played. Knight h7 was played. I took on b5 because I thought, okay, I have to get rid of that pawn. And if my opponent wants to play queen a1 check, I'll play knight b1 and I'm perfectly fine. And yeah, that was not what was played. C takes b5 was played. And here I go king b1. So here my king is completely safe. I feel really confident about my chances here because I can play knight d5 at some point. My pieces are going to activate very soon. f4 is incoming, and I really like my position overall. So here my opponent went for b4, and here I said, okay, knight d5. I'm attacking the pawn, and my opponent tried to defend it with rook b8, but then knight e7 check, king h8, and knight c6. So here my opponent lost the exchange rather quickly, but it was already a very tough position. So if you cannot play b4, then what else do you play? So it makes a lot of sense that my opponent blundered this, and yeah, it was really difficult for my opponent to yeah, find a better move. It's really difficult to find a better move in this position altogether. So yeah, queen a4 was played. I took on b8, rook takes b8, and after bishop c4, this is where my opponent resigned because there's simply zero compensation that my opponent has. It is currently +5, and my moves, I mean, my next few moves, I'm either taking that pawn or playing bishop b3 because I can. I want to play d takes e5 and maybe prepare bishop d4 if the bishop captures back, or maybe I push f4. There's so many moves that white has here, and on top of that being up the exchange, it is quite a disastrous position for black. So it makes a lot of sense my opponent resign. I would personally not resign maybe, or I don't know. I'm not a person that likes to resign early. I want to kind of challenge my opponent a little bit still. But yeah, it makes sense that my opponent resigned because this position is really, really tough to defend. So yeah, quite a short game, so it makes me really happy because then I can get some rest for tomorrow's round. Tomorrow's already round 8. Tomorrow's round 8. It's crazy. So I'm really looking forward to round 8. Let's see who I'll be playing against because I have no idea. I'll be playing with the black pieces probably, and I'm not sure if I'll be playing someone high rated or low rated. It's a bit difficult to guess. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support. I hope you guys liked today's recap. Tomorrow we'll have round 8. So well, actually, I believe when I will upload this video, we'll have round 8 already started. So anyway, we'll see about that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.